Welcome back to our next episode of this Fireplace Santa stocking. As you can see, when we ended last time, I was just beginning to embroider this fireplace grate down, and I've got that finished, and we are ready to move ahead on what comes next. Actually, I think I get the great pleasure of being able to cross off the fireplace screen. There we go. And now we're going to applique the candlesticks 9 to the stocking, and then applique the candlesticks 9 to the stocking, then add the embroidery. So where is 9? The candlesticks 9. Oh, good. Oh, these are up here on the mantle. It looks like it's the not the candle, but the candle holder. And those are this nice golden yellow color, and then it looks like they are going to have this dashed line, which is the two brown two strands of brown that will be embroidered, and in this case they're telling us to embroider it after they are on the stocking. So let's find them. Oops. Okay, they are going to be here. There are two number 9s, and I do find this occasionally in these kits. I always judge my kit by the number of pieces the kit says it has, and occasionally you'll find this where if it's an identical piece, it gets the same number. So the number, when I look at the finish, the last number in the instructions sometimes doesn't tell us exactly the number of pieces in the stocking. There could be more. For instance, there's at least one more piece in this stocking than that is listed, because this piece is done twice. So we are going to carefully cut out this piece, and then we'll do it twice, of course. It's a rather intricate piece to cut, so I do see why they're telling us to embroider it after it is on the stocking, because it is this line right here and this line right here that we'll be embroidering. And when the piece is rather small, like this one is, and is kind of intricate, I could see it being much easier. I've got a little bit of the paint left there, which I always try to get whenever I notice it. How to get that little bit off there. I'll come back to that, I guess. Okay. Okay, that one's done. See that there? So I'm going to do the same thing on this other one, and then we will come back to pin them down in their position on the stocking. All right, there's the two candlesticks that are cut out. I did have to go around them quite a bit, trimming, because this yellow, this beautiful, I love this beautiful goldenrod kind of yellowy color, felt the paint really clings to, and it really did not want. You can still see there's little bits of it. I don't think they're going to show, but I did go around each of the candlesticks with my scissors and scrape off any paint that looked like it was going to show too much. Now I don't feel like this is quite lining up with the paint that's here. And see this black line here? It seems to me like it should line up like that, but that really covers a lot of the candle. So I am going to opt for bringing it down right in line with the top of the fireplace mantle. Otherwise, I'm trying to decide. It does look like it goes there. Consult the picture whenever I have questions. Let's see. Well, decisions. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with bringing it down right in line and sitting on the mantle and allowing then the candle to rise up above that. Otherwise, I feel like I am just not going to see much of that candle at all. So let's go get the other one pinned down as well. And I'm doing the same thing with this one. This one actually looks like it lines up perfectly with the indication lines for that garland on the mantle. So maybe it's just an error on the other candlestick. So now all we have to do is stitch those candlesticks down to the stocking. And again, it will be a going all the way around, just like we always do, or at least that's how I always do it. I have had people ask, if you know another piece is going to go on top of it, why do you stitch it all the way around? Why don't you just stitch where that piece is not going to land on top? All right, scissors, where'd you go? Yeah, I hear them. And my response to that is always, that's just how I've always done it. It seems like a best practice. It may not have actual fruit, but I think in the long run, your pieces are going to be more stable. And again, we do sometimes attach pieces on top of pieces that are attached. And let me see if I can say this clearly. If the piece that you are attaching to the top of another piece, and that piece is not fully attached, then you may have two pieces that are now not fully attached. I hope that might make sense. But anyway, my practice is to always go all the way around, and unless it specifies not to. And there are times, most often it'll be something like Santa's mustache. They'll tell you don't just attach it with a few stitches to the center, in the center, so as a mustache has a little bit of a kind of a 3D effect. That's very common. And I do love it when we get some of those 3D effects. But if it doesn't, and it will say that specifically in the instructions, so you can know for sure where it is that you need to consider that. So otherwise, I stitch pretty much all the way around in every instance. One done, one to go. So I will come back when I have this other one stitched down, and then we can do the outline stitch on embroidery on each candlestick. So we'll be right back when we have that done. All right. So there you can see that they are up there on that mantelpiece. And now I just want to double check what it was telling us to do as far as embroidery. It does show us here this heavy dashed line, and that, when we go over here, says outline stitch 2 strands of brown. So that's what we're going to do, 2 strands of brown. I have to remind myself, this is my brown. I have light taupe, taupe, red brown. I actually have 2 of those, brown and dark brown. So the brown is the one we want. Okay, and we are going to just do the outline. I'm going to hold it upside down, I think. Here, start at the bottom, the lowest one, which is right here. And I am actually going through the red and right at the edge of the yellow, or the gold there. When you have to go edge to edge, this is really an easy way to do it. But a lot of your pieces that need the edge to edge sometimes are not fully attached. Sometimes they are some of those leaves or things that they want you to just tack down. And then that doesn't work. But it works for this instance, and that is very nice. I'm really only getting 2 stitches across because it's very narrow. And then by turning my work the way that I am, it's allowing me to only bring, see if you can see, bring my floss up just a little, like here and here, and not going all the way from side to side. So again, I am a huge conservator of floss, and there's no real good reason for it because they always give you plenty. I just how I am. It's just how I am. So there we go. Really only get 2 stitches on each of those and then back down. And so now you can see this is the one with the outline stitch, and this is the one without it. There isn't probably a big difference as far as what the camera can pick up, but it does make a difference. I can imagine doing a stocking and skipping some of those steps. It really is what kind of, I don't know, helps bring it alive. If it would be like, I guess, leaving it almost like a cartoon. That's not good. Coloring book, where the lines show, and you don't really want that. So I don't want my drawing lines to show in my finished piece. I want it to be completely finished so that you cannot see. And that's why some people look at these finished stockings and they're just amazed, because all the things that guided you to do these things aren't visible anymore, and they are just amazed. How did you do that? Well, truthfully, if they could see it as it started at the beginning, they would be able to see exactly how you did it. So it's nice to make it complete, to do all the steps that it says. And could you eliminate some of the steps? Of course you could. This is your project. You are the master crafter here. What you say is what goes. So again, make your choices. Be happy with the choices that you've made. If there's a choice that you've made and you don't end up feeling like it was the best choice, you can always pull it out and do it again. Welcome back. We have got the candlesticks appliqued and embroidered here. Oops, there you go. Now you can see them. And I think I have found an issue with this kit that I'm gonna have to resolve, and I suppose that if you do this kit, you'll have to resolve it too. Maybe you'll resolve it differently than I did. But the next direction says, after applique the candlesticks to the stocking, then add the embroidery. So I did that. I added this embroidery, these straight stitches here on the candlesticks. Now it says applique the candles 10 to the stocking, which that I see is right here, 10, and they are white. You can see them here. So we need to just cut those out and stitch them down. But what I see is a line here for the wick and the flame. And I see no direction to do anything about that, like it isn't a piece number. And as I look at the picture, it appears to be embroidered. And when I look at the code, there's a long explanation for nothing, I guess. When I look at here, I see this, the line, the wick, it comes up as this open line, which is a straight stitch like this with one black strand. Okay. But then I see the flame of the candle appears to me to be a horizontal line, indicating some kind of embroidery there. And I'm looking for that horizontal line. I'm guessing that it's a satin stitch, but I don't see any horizontal line indicator or a color that looks like it's gold or yellow. I don't see any other horizontal line indicated anywhere, or what kind of stitch. So, based on looking at the picture, I am going to cut out the white candlesticks and stitch them down. Then I'm going to use some of the gold embroidery floss, 2 strands, and do a satin stitch to fill in the area here of the flame. Then I will come back with 1 strand of black floss to put in the wick. Possibly as we get further down in the directions, I read down a little ways. I don't see any indication of that. It could be just an oops on the part of Bucilla, but like I said, if you consult your photograph, consult your directions, consult your chart, and put together an answer for yourself, and that's what you do. Because again, this is your stocking, no one else's. Well, whoever you're going to give it to, maybe. And your decision is what is right. So I need to find the candlesticks here. Bring it up a little bit so you can see what I'm looking at here. Oops, sorry. The candlesticks are right here, these 2. So I'm going to go ahead, and I haven't done this yet on this piece, which is really wrong of me. I normally cut away all my pieces that are not the back. This is the stocking back. I like to cut all those pieces away so the stocking back can be left to be just left alone, basically, until I'm ready for it. So I will be right back after I get those 2 candlesticks cut out, and we will applique them to the stocking. Okay, I've got the candlesticks cut out. I am going to need to do a little bit of adjusting when I stitch it down to make sure that the candlestick is not floating. The candle is not floating above the candlestick holder. That would not look right. But I think we got it there. That looks right. Okay, so we just need to thread up a white embroidery needle and again go all the way around like we always stitch. Think that I can see, especially when I bend this back, you can really see it, that there's a gap there between the candlestick holder and the candle. So I think I'm going to come back around after I finish this up here. If I can get my knot out. There we go. And kind of stitch the candle to the candlestick holder. And I think I'll probably do that on the other one as well. And then if you notice, like I do, that I have a little bit of paint above my candlestick, of kind of where the candlestick is supposed to be, I can always get that off. Oops. Okay, and see, this is what I'm going to do, is kind of grab a little bit of the white felt and then go down here into the yellow and try to just bring that together so it cannot separate and look like the candle's not in the candlestick. And the white floss, when you pull it tight into the yellow felt, doesn't show too much at all, really. And I think that's it there. And now I'll just do the other one, the same thing. Okay, but just to expedite this, let's move right to the yellow, which I need to thread up an embroidery needle with this beautiful goldy yellow. And let's do that flame. I'm going to do the flame the same way I do all of the satin stitches. Okay, now I think I'll bring you down a little bit so hopefully you can see. Can you see the flame outline in the paint? And what I like to do with my satin stitches is begin in the centers of the design. So here is the tip of the flame, and I'm going to come down to the candle wick and then in and out this way. Oops. To make sure that your floss is even. And then I just work it solid on this half of the flame, and then I'll come back and do the other side half of the flame. And this, to me, looks like what the picture in the photograph, like what they've done. So I hope that that's the case. If not, it's going to be my version. And if you find the same thing in your kit, you may come up with a different solution. I'd love to hear what you chose as your solution if you are working this kit. And then see, after I have done that side, then I come around and start the other side. Hopefully you can see that there. I do work my satin stitch in and out, I know that technically they say you shouldn't. There is a risk of pulling it too tight, but I've kind of found the perfect tension over the years, and I don't find that happens. Not if you're careful and you just take it one stitch at a time. There. And that's the flame on the candle. And at the moment, the flame is hovering, suspended over the top of the candle. So let me get my knot in here. And then I will get my black floss. They are saying 1 strand. I will try 1 strand. However, I am curious as to whether that will show up enough so that you don't think that so it doesn't look like the flame is still hovering in midair with nothing connecting it. So apparently I haven't used black floss yet in this kit, which is unusual. That's usually a frequently used floss color, but again, I haven't done any of the details on the face or anything. Oops. It helps if you separate the thread that you took out and not the thread that's still attached to your floss sorter. Okay. So because they said it's 1 strand, I'm going to put a knot in only one end. And let's see if we can see it well enough to make it believable. And it did indicate that the wick kind of goes up into the flame a little bit. And then comes down here and connects to the candle. Let's see what we think of that. Well, what do you think? I think I'm going to do a second one. I don't think it shows up enough, and I think it still kind of looks like the candle is, or the flame is in midair. There. I do think that looks better. I do still see a little bit of the white paint. There we go. All right, knot that off. And that, oh, yeah, hi, Vinny. And that finishes one candle. I won't ask you to endure both candles. They're exactly the same. This is another place where they can trick you, or me, actually, because I use the number of pieces to help me indicate whether this is a good kit for a beginner. And of course both of these candles are marked as a number 10, so there's more than just the 100 stitches. or 100 pieces, because some of the pieces get the same piece number if they're identical, and so it can fool you that way. So here's the one done. I'll finish this other one. Finney's inspecting it, making sure it's done right. I'll finish this one off camera, and I will wish you well and a blessed day in this wonderful summertime. We're beginning to have a heat wave here and having some excessive heat warnings. So it's kind of a nice thing to have a Christmas wintry thing to work on when it gets that hot. So I am going to wish you a very blessed day and joy and peace in your crafting, and I will see you back in the next episode.